And we are live. So I don't know who is on this um, live stream right now. I'll be waiting to see. I can wait a little bit. Hope you guys like my new avatar. It's more pragmatic. It's more personal. It's more close to who I am. General Katarn is a Jedi general, but that is an explanation for another day. Today, I decided to take the time to tell people about lightsaber commissions. Now, what am I going to say? Well, it depends on what you want to know. Now, the reason why I'm having this conversation right now is because right now I've been asked several times in the past few weeks, maybe I don't know, yeah, maybe 3 weeks. And what I've been asked is if I do lightsaber commissions. And lightsaber commissions are, well, basically, what are lightsaber commissions? Lightsaber commissions are when, like every commission, you hire someone to do something for you in exchange for a certain price in order to, for a service. That's what a commission is. You basically hire a middle person to help you with something that you cannot do yourself for obvious reasons. Not that you're unable, but sometimes, as is the case with lightsaber commissions, you need to have a certain set of skills and knowledge on electronics, basically, and how to fix. Basically, you need to know more or less. You need to know how to work with electronics because it's not a game. It's something that you really need to be focused on. Just like any other art and craft, when you want to do something masterfully, and when someone trusts you there and trusts you with their money, you need to make sure that the price that you're getting for uh, is worth the work that you put in. So, okay, lightsaber collections is something that every single Star Wars fans out there, every single fan wants to have a lightsaber. A real functioning prop would be just like the movies would be ideal, but since we can't do that, we can only be satisfied with some props. Now, I'm going to do a basic rundown, like categorizing the tiers of what these lightsabers they can vary, and I'll fill you in. So, how they vary? Okay, um, there's a huge market. There's a vast category of lightsaber commissions out there, and sorry, not lightsaber commissions, but what I wanted to say was I want to say first of all hello to Flipped Out, Mary Vidalis, and Brent Newman, Utini, to you too. So as is, um, as it always has with lightsabers, there are different categories. So let me just run them down. First of all, you do get the toys, the plastic toys that you can get from your local toy store when you like take your 6-year-old kid, if you have a kid that's that young, and he says, "Mommy, I want a lightsaber," or "Daddy, I want that lightsaber," and you see those big, thick plastic hilts, like those Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker ones, those blade builder abortions. I call them abortions because, come on, lightsabers are supposed to be conservatively one hilt, one blade, maybe two bladed lightsabers like Darth Maul, and that's it. So you do get those ones with those retractable plastic blades and stuff. Um, and those lightsaber blades basically just they're just colored plastic, like red, green, and blue, and that's pretty much it. So those range to about $30 or $50. I don't know how much it is in the U.S. So uh, a category above that is the Hasbro Black Series lightsabers or the Master replicas. That is an older line, but they're essentially the same thing, but they have changed the license ever since Disney took over. Hasbro took over the Master replicas, and they're basically making the same thing. And what they are official released licensed replicas from the movies, from Disney, from Star Wars themselves, and they're basically supposed to be screen accurate. And for the most part, I can say that they are. I mean, if you get yourself a Black Series Darth Vader or Yoda lightsaber, they are very close to the scale. They have this metallic finish to it, and they look very, very neat. Now, some of us, myself included, like to take it a step further. And why I say it's a step further, you'll be like, okay, um, what's a step further? I want to say as well, thank you for taking time to drop in and say hello. So, what the next step after the Hasbro lightsabers? You think to yourself, okay, they light up, they have sound. Is there anything better than that? And this is where the custom lightsaber commissions that I do and that I'm into comes in. Now, the difference between the custom lightsaber hilts and the Hasbro hilts, for example, they are identical, but they have key differences, structural differences. The Hasbro lightsabers are purely decorative, and they may cost around $285 to $400. Off the top of my head, that's the cheapest or most expensive that you can get. The custom lightsabers are more expensive. They cost a lot more money because you're going to be like, okay, if I get two identical hilts, why is the one more expensive than the other? And I think that you guys are smart. You'll understand that what you pay is what you get. So the Hasbro and Master Replicas ones, they used to have a fixed blade inside for the most part, or removable blades. And when you remove the blade, the electronics were all installed inside the blade. And that meant that if you remove the blade, you couldn't use the hilt to illuminate, just like I do with my own lightsaber, if you will. Um, as a matter of fact, let me just bring you my hilt and let me just show you. Because if this is going to be a Q&A and show and tell, also feel free to ask any questions regarding. You don't even have to like be interested in the commission. You could ask any question. This is a free Q&A, so just give me a quick second. Okay, so I'm back and I'm going to activate my camera a little bit. Um, what you see right now is a custom Luke Skywalker hilt. This is basically from The Force Awakens, and I have the electronics inside. As you can see, this glow is from the crystal inside. Now, I've kind of tightened this whole thing down. I do have some pictures on Twitter where I show the crystal inside. The master replicas do not feature a crystal reveal. This is all custom. So the difference between a master replicas and this custom hilt, for example, you could see them, they are identical, but they have some key differences. Now, the one is, of course, I can remove a blade. I don't have a blade for this here. And as you can see, this is the LED inside, the LED module. Three colors mixed together to give a very powerful lighting effect. So if I take this lightsaber apart, I can remove all of the electronics inside perfectly without voiding any warranties because it's a custom non-licensed hilt. So if I break this, I buy it, no problem. The same thing can go with the officially licensed hilts, but that's not the case. What I'm trying to point out is I have a removable blade. I can just pop it in, tighten it with this retention screw to make sure it stays in place, and it will light up. The difference between master replicas or Hasbro lightsabers and custom ones are that I can't do this. The main difference is that I can ignite the lightsaber without the blade inside, and then I have a soundboard card that is custom as well that I bought from a vendor online that basically gives me the ability to change sound effects inside. It also has a flash and clash effect, which means essentially that you essentially get to change which lightsaber sound effect that you like. You can use ones from the original trilogy, you can use one from the prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, anything. And there are a lot of custom sound fonts, as we call them in the lightsaber community out there. So you can interchange with these boards. But the master replica ones come in with a fixed lightsaber stock sound font, as it's said. So I can customize this any way I want. I can basically just tear out this LED, which is blue, and I install a red color one, and it would still be something that I can do very easily. But with the other official kits, I can't do that. So that's one of the main things. Now the blades in the Hasbro ones have an LED strip. Now I'm pretty sure that you know that. You've pretty much seen that the LED strips and pictures. You see these little lights, a strip of lights together, and if you clash that hard enough, those lights will basically burn out because they're very sensitive, which means that you cannot use them to duel. They're not duel worthy. This one, I can pop a blade inside, I can whack it against a tree, and I will scuff the blade, but the shine through effect will still be consistent because I do not have an LED strip, because my electronics are installed inside the hilt, not in the blade. That's the main structural difference. And this is dual worthy. I can use it to duel. If I pop a blade in there, it's very simple to do so. So Brent Newman, I won't throw it off a cliff because I'm not Ryan Johnson, nor Jake Skywalker. I'm a huge fan, and I really put a lot of effort into this. I have made a video on how I built this specific hilt. If you check my channel, you'll see I've made a 10-part video on how I made this from scratch, from the empty hilt inside and the electronics, the crystal, everything. So that's why the custom lightsabers, just like this one, are more expensive to make. So camera off, that's why it's more worth it to me. You can do a lot more with these than you could do otherwise. For example, I can take, these things also have a memory card inside that you can use to change the sound effects that you like. They have a different price range. You can use them to make crystal reveal hilts, where you can make a the lightsaber internals have a lightsaber crystal to add to the effect and make it more true to the actual hilt in the movies. You can use them to not make a crystal reveal. It doesn't matter. It's a matter of personal preference, and it depends on the price range as well. So that being said, there are a lot of companies that make custom lightsaber hilts. The one that I got was called was from Corbanth. He is a very cool guy. He makes these lightsabers, and they're not to the elite lightsaber community. They're not one-to-one screen accurate because they have some structural differences. But as you can see, even on my picture, it is very close. The blade is very even. Oops, sorry about that. The blade illumination is very even. So in a picture, it looks like I'm holding a real lightsaber. And the other master replicas and Hasbro ones don't have that same effect. They're not as bright, and it can be very distracting. You want the lightsaber hilt that you paid for over $400 to be bright and as realistic to the movies as possible. So it's an expensive hobby, a very expensive hobby. So if you want to get one, I'm not saying that you have to shell out at least $400. You can make a very good custom lightsaber that is rigid for dueling, without even having to put in like a sound fonts or sound effects inside. You can just put an LED inside, and it will illuminate just the same. So there's a lot of things that you can do with custom builds. There are a lot of mixes and matches, lots of hilts to make, even custom ones, not necessarily ones followed from the films and the movies, from actual characters. I'm actually building a custom hilt that I have designed myself, and I will make a video on that, obviously. So the main reason, the salt of this video, is that I wanted to explain how I work in lightsaber commissions. So far, I have done 2 personal projects for friends, and it was ideal because, in the sense that business-wise, they were my best friends, and they told me, listen, I'm going to give you the money to buy me the hilt, and I'm going to also give you an extra for your services, hence lightsaber commission, for your craft. And they told me, okay, just do it. So when I ordered the parts, I said, hey, you know what? You want to come home for a cup of coffee or maybe a cold beer while I build this and I put it together? You can actually see what I'm doing. And that's the ideal thing. So he gives me the money. I give him the lightsaber. He's satisfied. She's satisfied. Then I go back home. Now, overseas, most of my friends right here, have asked me from Australia, UK, um, and even the US, and have asked me, hey, do you do commissions? And I said, I do. I would be honored if you guys would come to me and say, hey, Katan, can you build me this lightsaber? Hey, can you build me this custom design? Hey, can we come up with something together? That is ideal for me. That is a dream. That's how I would like to work. So the main issue is, of course, money. Now, why I'm actually pointing this out, it's a trust-based, business. So you don't know me, I don't know you, I haven't seen you before, you haven't seen me, so you're going to be like, why should I give you my precious money? How can I know that I'm not going to be scammed? And lately in the lightsaber community, there has been a very big scam from a very big lightsaber or commission person. He was very trusted. He was very popular in the community. And I've told this to Flip before because he wants to do commission with me. So welcome, Jeff, or you know, the rookie critic. He says that when my lightsaber is up and working, he'll have me fighting the next kid. Okay, sure thing. When it's ready. So, um, as I was saying, it's a trust thing because when you're trusting your hard-earned money to someone overseas and says, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to do this for you." It's natural to have doubts. Okay, and you can get flipped out about. You can get flipped out about it. Sorry, wink, wink. Pun intended. Flip. So anyway, um, you'll think to yourself, okay, why should I trust this person? Yeah, I do want that lightsaber, but I want it to be custom because custom has a lot of options, and it may be expensive, but it's going to be more durable and it's going to last longer than a cheap toy. So that being said, um, there was this guy in the lightsaber community. His name was Jordan Mall, and Moll, not Maul like Darth Maul. Uh, you know, to spell check. He was a lightsaber commission legend. I have watched his work. He has even come with some custom designs of his own inner chassis, which he would hold in the electronics. He would 3D print them. He wasn't good in this business, and a lot of people trusted him because he had renown and he had a good name, as is always with communities. There's always someone out there bigger than ourselves that is renowned for what they're good at doing. Now, what happened with this person is that he had a lot of lightsaber commissions. A lot of people came to him, and one thing that I have to specify about lightsaber commissions is that it takes time to make. So, for example, if Flipped Out asks me, "Hey, Katarn, listen, I've got the money. I bought the hilt. I'm sending it over to your address. I want you to put it together. When can I have it?" Now, it depends how long it will take for it to get sent to me, how long it will get it, how long it will take for me to fix it, which will be an average of maybe 2 to 5 days at worst. 5 days meaning that I have a fever and I can get out of bed because once I start getting better at this, I can build like maybe 2 lightsabers a day. That's optimistic thinking, but it might take, let's say, a week. So 2 weeks for you to send it to me, 1 week for me to put it together, another 2 weeks to send it back to you is a minimum of 5 weeks. Now, this is all hypothetical, and it serves to give an explanation as why it takes time to build. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you're going to get it within a week, especially if you're overseas from someone. Now, um, what happened with this guy is that a lot of people sent him money, sent them their hilts, or he bought them. He had some in stock and said, "Hey, for example, yeah, I'll build your lightsaber that you said the specifications in the email." He took up on the commissions. He sent them a confirmation email when they actually paid him. And what happened is that he suddenly went dark, and he never responded to people. It took time, and people started growing impatient. It took well over the estimated time of commission. And then what happened after that is that you know, people started getting frustrated, and they said, "What the hell happened?" Another guy that was his close friend and he's like the Tony Stark of these things, was Shamim. Um, Shamim has been doing this for quite a while now, and he's gotten very good at it. but he is very true to his commissions. People trust him, and this Jordan guy and Shamim were very close as friends. Now, long story short, because I don't want to make this a soap opera of 10 seasons, Jordan got the money. He never responded to people, and he scammed a whole lot of people. Now, I don't think that this was deliberate. I really believe that this guy had a meltdown in his defense, and he couldn't handle the amount of commissions that people came to him. I mean, it's better to say, you know what, dude, I can't do this for you because, I'm busy, or I have to cut you. I have to cut the list short because, I have my plate full already as it is, than actually take money from people and never fulfill your side of the bargain. Now, in the lightsaber community, of course, people, buyers would be very reluctant to take saber commissions from anyone, let alone myself, who I'm not in the commission business as greatly as other guys. But you can imagine that people, and naturally so, are reluctant to trust their money to people, to strangers on the internet overseas, because they said, hey, if this Jordan guy scammed us, what is this Catan guy going to do for me, for example? And I feel responsible in a way because I don't want to scam people. I want to get paid, of course, for what I do, but I also want to be able to give people what they paid for to come through. I want to be able to, I want to be able to give them the joy of, owning a lightsaber prop that they so desperately want, myself included. So, with that being said, that's what I wanted to clarify. So, if you feel that, hey, despite all this, despite everything getting out of the way on the table, saying that, it's trust-based relationship, business, whatever, and you still say, hey, you know what, Catan, I want to see what you're made of. I want to see what you can come up with. I'd be glad to. You can DM me on Twitter. You can let me know, and we can discuss something. It's something that I like doing. It's something that I'm good at doing, and that's all. So if you guys, any one of you guys, have a question, even if you didn't catch this live broadcast, you can question. You can put your question in the comments, and I'll be sure to swoop in and answer them, because to me this is a very important issue. This is very critical. It's a trust thing, and nothing can be built without trust. So it wouldn't take a long time for me to say this. I said that it would be like a half-hour stream, and I'm already 25 minutes in, and that's all. So you can choose. There are a variety of hilts out there every day. This company specifically that I'm very close with, that I got my own lightsaber, comes up with very popular hilts like Vader, Sidious, Luke. Now he's brought in the Anakin and Obi-Wan from Episode 3, the Anakin from Episode 2, a variety of hilts, and I can install them. I know I can because I've done this before, and it's pretty much a standard procedure for all of these builds. Now, if you tell me that, hey, I want to have these effects, or hey, I want to have these sound effects, I can look into something, and I will pull through. I know how to fix this. So, for example, if just like Philip, if you want a gold blade, I can make it a gold blade. I can mix the colors together. I can put sound in if you want. I can not put sound. I can do anything. If you want a lightsaber blade that is dual worthy, I can make it. If you want something just for props, I can also make it just a static prop. I can make anything. I'm confident in my welding and soldering skills right now because I've had some practice, and the more that I get to practice, the more I can make these things. And Brent, I'm really grateful for your comment. I'm passionate about this because I am a customer myself, and I know what I want to see in a commission. For example, if I want to see good work, I'm going to actually have to put the same amount of work that I want to see in my own build that I make for someone. Like if I'm to make one for you, you'd have to say, hey, Catan, I want you to make me a Darth Vader hilt with a red colored blade or red LED dies. If you want to get more technical, I want a specific soundboard, nothing too expensive. And I'll come up to you and say, okay, you can DM me or email me, And when we get personal and we decide to do business together, I'll be like, okay, listen, these are your options, A, B, C, or D, and you can choose. If you have the budget to go for something as accurate as a crystal reveal, for example, like mine to make cost about 700 USD, and you'll be like, what? But it was a personal project, and what I did was that expensive because I put in the crystal inside and the crystal reveal chassis and the crystal itself and all of these effects to make it as accurate as possible, um, is what made it cost so much. And I think that makes sense because it's not like a static prop, for example. And if you do get a static prop, yeah, it will cost you less. If you tell me that, hey, you want a empty hilt, sure, it's going to cost less. I'm going to see if I can actually unscrew this properly to give you like an idea of what the crystal reveal is. Just hope I don't snap any wires in the process. Okay, so camera on again, and the crystal reveal is essentially this. Here you go. It has a crystal inside. You click, you strike the blade, but still the crystal inside illuminates. Now I put this back inside and it doesn't show, but yeah, this is it. These are very sensitive props, by the way. You have to be very, very delicate with them. It has a crystal inside. I'm pretty astonished that I was able to unscrew this properly. And you can see that the whole screen just dims out when the crystal is back in. But if I do this again, the whole thing just shines out. If you guys like what you see, because dude, this was a very long personal project, and the fact that I still managed to put this together. And when I made this, I was pretty much a rookie. So yeah, I can make one with a crystal reveal. I can make one without a crystal inside. I can make one with sound. I can make one just with lighting. There's a lot of options that you can go with. So to continue my example, if you wanted to do that, yeah, go ahead. You can tell me, hey, Katarn, I want you to make me a Luke Skywalker lightsaber with a blue LED inside. I want a cheap soundboard. I want to be able to interchange stuff. I want to see what you can do. Hey, what do you have to suggest? And I'll be like, okay, you can choose this soundboard, the Nano Viscotti. And you'll be like, what's Nano Viscotti? What's this? And I'll tell you, okay, listen, it's this kind of category. There are different tiers of lightsaber soundboards in there. You can choose from whichever one you want. There are some extravagant, expensive ones that give you like blade lock effects, blaster deflections, and they're more expensive because they do more. They're more impressive. They do more shit, so it makes sense that they're more expensive. Now, let me just try and just screw this in a little bit because I'm very critical about the whole clamp inside this. I don't want to ruin it. It's very, very important to me that I'm careful with this. Especially when you make something yourself, you are very, very careful, oops, sorry, I think I'm tightening. I should align the clamp first. There we go. Now, I'm going to screw this up if I don't use both hands, so I'm going to put this aside. That's all pretty much. So let's recap. 3 tiers: plastic toys with retractable toy blades that you can buy for your 6-year-old nephew. The officially licensed Hasbro toys that do have electronics inside it with a fixed blade that you cannot remove, and that's a disadvantage. You may want to just mess around with the hilt or just display the hilt because the blade to you may take up too much space in your display case or room, and that makes sense. And of course, you have the custom ones that have various ways of building things. You can just take an empty hilt and you can dream. You can make anything you want. You can put any color, any sound effect. You can put a crystal reveal. You can make it solid. You can use blaster deflection sounds. You can put blade lock. You can put a whole lot of things, and that is totally up to you. So I'm going to be. I still haven't worked on a price, fixed price and commissions and stuff because I'm trying to make a well, trying to make out the cost of every single option that you might have out there, what you may want, and I want to make sure that I'm fair. I want to make sure that I'm affordable in a sense that it can be expensive, but I don't want it to be too expensive. It's not about glorifying me; it's about giving something to the fans. I mean, like it wouldn't mean anything to me to get like an extra $200 off of a customer just because he wants a custom hilt. That yes, it will be expensive, and the only expenses that you will have to pay or she will have to pay is the materials themselves. My custom work will be a fixed price that will not change. And well, that's that. I'm pretty much sure that I've covered myself up. If you wanted to go with a commission with me, just let me know. I want this to take off and fly because I really like what I do. And before I do this, I will show you guys how I'm going to make my next hilt. I'm going to take a completely different way, touch or twist on how I make these things. I'm going to take completely different take on how I'm going to build the next one. It's going to be a green hilt, sorry, a green blade, green LED. So my face is going to be lit in green instead of blue, like you see on my picture right here. And I'm going to expand my personal collection, and at the same time, I'm going to show you guys what I'm capable of. And I'm pretty sure, just like yourself, when you actually see my work, um, you know, in person, and you can see that, hey, you know what, this guy did this, and I want to go with it, or hey, I'm still not convinced. That's totally up to you. If you want to see um, some of my custom work or designs, I do have a series called How to Build a Graphics. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is called the Graphics, for those who didn't know. So you can check that out on my channel. I do have like a 10-part video. It takes time, takes a lot of time to see, but it also took a lot of time to make and analyze what I've done. As a matter of fact, that's how I met Flipped Out, because actually that's how I met him. He took time to see some of my videos, and that's how we became friends, because we also hit it off as friends, and we got to talking and stuff, and now here we are in the Fandom Collective. And I really hope that I can actually bring this in the Fandom Collective. I want to be, like the sabersmith, the guy that, hey, if you want a prop, you can go to General Katarn. I would really appreciate the support. And I would like to specialize in this, and I would like to be the go-to guy for these sort of things. So I'm going to be, logging off. If you have any questions in the comments, just even in the live chat right now, you could just tell me if there's anything that you want me to specify before I go off air. So let me just read the comments. Flip, leave a like, guys. You're a great friend. General, thanks. You're a great friend because you found me first, my friend, and your faith and your trust isn't going unnoticed, and it isn't taken for granted. And Brent, I really hope that this helped clarify something for you. Something that you might have had a question. I really hope that I answered the question even before it was asked. So that's that. If you want a lightsaber just like this one, let me just show it one last time. If you want hilts like these, Vader, Luke from Episode 6, Palpatine, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I can get these easily. I can make these. I can just get the hilt, and when we strike, like for example, a deal, and you say that, okay, I want to go with Katarn, and I want to do this and do some business with him, I'll be like, I'll be waiting, and you'll tell me exactly what you want to do, what you want to specify, and when the decision has been made, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to angle this properly. So when a decision has been made and we have agreed on something, I will do my best to deliver. And there we go, properly done. So yeah, now I'm confident. So I will do my best to deliver a hilt that you would enjoy. So for example, Return of the Jedi Luke, sure. And an example as we're discussing this. So I'll be like, hey, Brent, there are, like, let's say 3 companies or 4 companies that make a Luke Return of the Jedi hilt, and you'll be like, okay, what do you suggest? Now you'll be like, aren't they the same? And I'll tell you no, because every company, and at least on the internals, on the inside, they have like certain differences, or outside, and some of them have been very complex, have been very difficult. Have been making some of these hilts, kind of difficult in a sense that they're trying to make them screen accurate, and the compartments of what you know binds them together makes them a little tricky to build and stuff. Nothing too difficult for myself. I have built a Luke Return of the Jedi off screen, at least for a friend of mine. He decided to go with the most difficult hilt out there. Kyle Brandon, Ray sucks. I agree. And Drunk 3PO, thank you for dropping in. I was talking about lightsaber commissions and how I build lightsabers. So, this is Luke's lightsaber, not Ray's, by the way. I keep on saying this hashtag, this belongs to Luke, not Ray. So, yeah. What's going on is that I was discussing on how I can build a hilt. So, returning back to Luke's from Return of the Jedi, or even this one, there are multiple companies that make this specific hilt. Now, you can take the backside off in a different way. You just, it's like kind of spring loaded, and you just take the back section off. Some of the, bolts and screws are kind of different. It depends on what you want to go with. Some of the pricing can be different, and I've seen that a long time ago. There was these companies that started off as hot shots and stuff, and they decided to rip people off because they said, "Hey, this is a custom thing." And Corban specifically came with a kit that was, they machine most of these. They do machine them in China, obviously. And he said, "Okay, it is relatively cheaper than the rest," but he decided to make them durable, and they are durable. This is a durable hilt, and I've used it. I have another lightsaber, and I tested it against a friend of mine, for to see if it's going to come apart. And so far, so good. And it has a lot of screws. Specifically, this lightsaber has so many screws that if you do not pay attention, like this part here, a side switch, and some other lightsabers, for example, another example is that this is a side switch. Some other lightsabers use this as a switch, but I use the clamp. You can make it anyway. You can say, like, "Hey, Catan, I want a lightsaber hilt. I want you to make this one with a button switch and a clamp switch." Easy. I know what to do. You could say that I want to make a side switch one. I'm going to be like, "Okay, yes, but I suggest that company," for example, like Vader's Vault is a company that makes the Luke Skywalker lightsaber, and the switch is on the side. So you could be like, you could also do your research. You will also have to do your research in a way so that you know what you want. You will tell me what you want, and I will do my best to convey your vision. And there are multiple companies out there. I work with all of them. I know all of those guys. In the community, they're great. They do talk to people, kind of like they have a fandom collective thing going on. And for example, this one has a lot of variations depending on the company. And you could decide, "Hey, I found a cheap empty hilt. Can I bring this to you? Can you get it and fix it?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure." I'm confident in my skills, So so yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes I just get distracted because I love this lightsaber hilt so much. I own at least 3 hilts. One that I haven't showcased because well, I don't technically own it. I kind of share it with my sister. It's at her place right now. An Ahsoka Tano hilt, by the way, which is the first ring that I ever made. But this one has stuck with me to up to now. The Obi-Wan hilt that I have is still back home in Greece, but this one I still have with me. So let me just read the comments because I see some activity. Kyle Brennan says, "I really enjoy your videos. Keep up the great work, and don't forget to subscribe to PewDiePie." Okay, so I have subbed to PewDiePie like forever ago, so I think I've got that cleared. And I really appreciate that you enjoy my videos, and I will do my best to keep up the good work because it's very easy to make a video that is not good or live stream and say nonsense and just ramble about and waste precious megabytes and gigabytes on the YouTube betting servers. So I'm just trying to make the best of my time. Again, showing off this gorgeous hilt. You can tell me what you want to make, how you want to make it. You could even make this like a purple or red color. I'll be like, sure thing, why not? And I will be in touch. If, for example, Drunk 3PO is like my customer, and he says, hey, I want I don't know what would suit 3PO. He would obviously want something with more gold inside because, he's a gold droid and stuff. So he could tell me, like, for example, I want a Mace Windu lightsaber hilt. Um, they're making some of these right now. There are a few companies, not a lot, that make Mace Windu, for example, but I could make one, just put it on and say, this is the company. They have this hilt. This is a price. This is how much it's going to cost you with the electronics. I'll give you an analytics. I'll give you all the specifications that you need, and I'll be like, okay, for this lightsaber that you want, the cost is this, and this. Okay, I'm not going to say that I'm going to add some additional cost, for example, for using some of my materials on my side, because okay, solder doesn't cost that much. I have a 100-gram spool like this much, and it can make me at least 50 lightsabers, to be modest. Okay, so I'm not going to charge you, for example, like an extra $10 for a $2 spool of solder. Okay, I'm not going to rip you guys off, and most of you guys in this community are my friends, and I'm going to try and make something decent for you guys that you can brag about, something that you can say, hey, General Katarn made this, something that is made of quality, something that you guys can enjoy. And if there's any troubleshooting in the future, for example, if I deliver you a hilt or a blade and that's kind of dysfunctional. I mean, I'm a person, we could all make errors. I've even been delivered a lightsaber, a fully installed one that had a few errors inside, but I didn't go to the guy and say, you crooked me and you hack, how could you do this? It's very easy to say, hey, yeah, you suck. It's very easy to point the finger of blame, but every time you point, 2 fingers in front, 3 fingers are pointing back to yourself. So if you feel, for example, that I crooked you, that's not the case. I have no reason to. You trusted me your money, and I have no reason to take that money and actually rip you off. I'm not that kind of guy. But again, it's trusting. You don't know me, I don't know you, and you're going to be like, yeah, that's what you're saying right now. But when you get those dollars, my friend, you're going to be like, yeah, screw that guy. I'm going to take his money and I'm going to crook him. No, reputation to me is more important than an easy score. So I could crook 10 people that give me $1,000 each. So I could easily rob $1,000, but my reputation would be tarnished forever. So I'd rather get some things moderately than be tarnished forever. That's how I work. That's how I roll. So, man, I kind of mix these things up sometimes. It just needs a little sip of cool drink. So yeah, basically to recap, you choose the company or you choose the specifications. I will suggest something. I'll do my best to make a working prop that doesn't have any malfunctions. If you do have like some questions, okay, how do I ignite this? How do I change sound fonts? How do I charge this, for example? I will specification, but you will have to be very, very careful and pay attention to, because if you don't know what you're doing or you don't pay attention to my instructions, it won't be my fault. I mean, yeah, I can also get excited. I'll be like, yeah, just tell me later. Do you want to look at this? Ooh. Yeah, you'll have to pay attention first. But you're not dumb. You're all smart guys out there. You're all moderate adults, and you'll obviously know how to follow these instructions. It's nothing difficult. Don't worry. It's not rocket science. If I could build this, there are other people that have built these things like hundreds of times over, and they're more experienced than me. But I want to reach that, and you guys can help me reach that. So that's all. Any other questions? Anything? While the ball is rolling, come on, before I ignite this and I kill someone. Maybe Ray. That would be cool. How about a Darth Maul hilt? Okay, Darth Maul. There is a Darth Maul hilt out there. It is a double-bladed hilt. So that would basically mean, since it has a coupler on the side. So for example, It has a coupler that unites both hilts. I can make one. It's possible. Uh, I actually know the company, the exact company that I can buy it from. There are at least three that make them, but they're identical. So it's basically the same guy, because I think that this one guy that I know closely, he basically supplies the same hilts to the rest of the other companies, and the price is pretty much fixed. It's pretty much the same. I can make a Darth Maul hilt. I've never thought of it because none of my friends ever asked for one, because Darth Maul is underrated between you and me. He should get more attention. He's an awesome villain. Um, I wanted to make a red hilt, classic Star Wars character hilt. And the first one that I'm going to be making, in a red color is Count Dooku. And then I was thinking between Vader and Maul, and you gave me an idea. So basically, what you're going to be doing with Maul, since it's a double staffed lightsaber, you have two blades together. So the cost would be double in a sense, but you could do something that another guy in my community did once. He had the staff, for example. He had the two blades like this. He had, sorry, the two hilts, and he had the one with sound and the other one just with light. And that's smart because not only do you save on money, but if you have two different soundboards working together, when you swing the blade, for example, the one on the top may respond to different frequency and motion sensitivity than the one on the bottom. So you could be getting a distraction, and you could be getting like an echo from both hilts. So that wouldn't sound accurate. So you want just one double blade that sounds the same on altogether. You want it to sound the same. So you could use just one for the electronics and put a speaker in between the coupler or something. I can think of something up. I've had some of those ideas. I just didn't expand on it, but now you're just refreshing my memory, and it can work, and it can be cheaper that way. So you can have one of the two hilts on the coupler that has the sound, and the other one just light. So when you just swing the double hilt, it will have the same resonance and even sound all over the place. And I could put a louder speaker, for example, that can make it sound louder, so that the sound can at least it may sound like it's coming from both hilts at the same time. I can make one that there's so many combinations. You could put two soundboards, but if you want a double hilted lightsaber, I do suggest you just use one soundboard, one speaker, to resonate evenly throughout the whole hilt. So yes, to answer your question, how about a Darth Maul hilt? Hell yeah, that's my answer. You can make a Darth Maul hilt. There are a lot of combinations that you can make out from double-sided hilts. Darth Maul is obviously the most popular one, and I would like one of those in my collection. Actually, he is an underrated villain. I do have like a contingency of hilts that I wanted. This was the second one. The first one I wanted was Obi-Wan, so it's Obi-Wan, Luke. Then I think it's going to be Count Dooku, Luke from Return of the Jedi. My sister took my Ahsoka hilt, so yeah, that's unfair. um, Anything Luminara on Dooley, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, which is basically the same thing as Luminara but in blue. There is a whole lot of hilts out there, a lot of popular characters, and if you want something that's a completely different discussion, you can come to me again. You can say, hey, I want something more personalized. There is this application on this site called saberparts.com from the company. Can actually just take all of these parts together from the pommel, the main body, the switch section, and the emitter, and you can just combine. You can make a whole combination, but it has to be delicate. It is a delicate procedure because you do not want to put parts that are too long, because you could have like a single lightsaber and you could end up like Yarael Poof, which has like a foot-long lightsaber, and it could be crazy. So, any other questions? Any other, please? Anyone? I'll just take a sip of my cool drink and I'll work. And wait for you guys. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So, is this really it? you want to wrap it up? Are you eating something and you're actually occupied? I can still wait. Darth Maul says, "Is there a place for just the hilt, no blade?" Oh, sorry, my bad. You can obviously get the blades. So you order the hilt, and the company that I'm buying from, that I know that makes the Darth Maul hilt. There's another company that does a sneaky thing. He takes the hilts, both hilts, and he sells them individually for like about $250. So if you want to make a Darth Maul from that company, you would have to take 250 and 250, which is 500, which is a ripoff. The company that I'm buying from has the price from 275 for the whole hilt. I could say 300, but I'm not going to crook you. You could ask me for a link right now. I could link one in the comments. I'll show you the company. His name is Corbanth, and he has the Darth Maul hilt empty obviously, for installation inside. He has the whole thing, double-bladed one. The empty hilt, he doesn't have the blade, of course, but it's for $275, which is a great price. And then the blades can go for like $30 USD. It's not a problem. If you live in the US, you won't have to pay so much shipping costs as well. So you could get like 2 blades aside. And when you've done the installation inside, you can just pop 2 blades in, use the retention screw, tighten it up, and then on the other side, the same story, and you can have yourself a magnificent whirling Darth Maul blade. And boy, now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually getting me thinking. Darth Maul would be amazing, and it would be a cool project. I would be very happy to make one. And for you specifically, Darth Maul, name and blade would go in hand. So I could be like, I'm making this lightsaber for Darth Maul. It'd be like, who's Darth Maul? And I'd feature your channel, and I'd be like, I'm making it for this guy. And I'd be like, holy shit, it's Darth Maul. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm making his lightsaber for him. Is that how it got it? Is that how he got it before the Phantom Menace? Will be like, who do you think was behind that? Even though I was 6-year-old, it's okay. So I can make it. Blades, I don't mention the blades because if I'm going to give you a lightsaber, I'm going to give you a blade as well, and a charger for the lightsaber hilts. Of course, I'm going to make one with a recharge port, so you don't have to like replace the batteries or take the batteries out of the hilt. I'm going to make an easily accessible recharge port where basically, like mine in the graphic right here, it's in the pommel cap. Let me just remove this real quick, and let me show you what a recharge port is. Okay, so the recharge port, I don't know if you can see this black doohickey here. Let me just use my phone to use as illumination. This black little thing here, it is a kill key. What the kill key does essentially, not all of them work the same way, but when I twist this, it cuts power to the board, and that means that the lightsaber, if I press the button, it won't work. But if I twist it back or remove it, the lightsaber is ready. And if I hit the ignition button right now, I'm going to kill myself, so I don't want that. So this little circular space right here is the recharge port, and you take the charger and you just plug it in and you wait to charge it for as long as it needs. The batteries that I use are, there are lithium-ion batteries, rechargeable ones, and they have a mega capacity for like about 3,400 milliamps. Now, for a circuitry that doesn't use that much electricity, you could leave a lightsaber on charge for weeks, and it would still work the same. But I do suggest, like myself, when my friends say, "Hey, bring the lightsaber over," and just show off, I always charge it so that I know that I have maximum LED power to the board. I mean, when this thing is fully charged, it gets bright. And in some other cases, when you don't charge it fully, it loses it loses power to the LED, of course, because it has a very low charge and it's not that bright. And I don't want it to be any less bright than it has to be. It has to be like blinding, like it has to make you just flinch when you see the illumination. So that's, I hope that I answered your question. So long story short, you order the hilt, any hilt, I'm going to give you a blade with it. I'm going to give you, the price for the blade. I'm going to be like, yeah, you can get a $30 blade. You can get a heavy grade dueling blade. Now that's another section. Going to cover you all. I'm going to cover you guys up real quick. So heavy dueling blades. What's the difference with a decorative blade? The one that I have with this, for example, is a very thin walled blade. It's very thin. So if I just smash it against something else that could put enough stress to break it, it will break. And these things, why would you waste $30 just to break your blade? But there are other blades that you could use for heavy dueling. Those are what they call heavy grade dual blades or thick walled blades that have a much thicker diameter inside, and you could just use it. This Shamim guy that I mentioned, he has a video where he actively sets a camera in front of a tree and he just whacks the crap out of it, and he just shows a blade that has a few scuff marks, and that's just about it. And he just goes at it. He just whacks it against the tree. So you could use it. You could say, hey, I want this for a convention. For example, I could make you a lightsaber for a convention. I don't know when Celebration is. If it is coming soon, and I get some commissions, holy crap, I don't have my tools on me here. I'll have to fly back to Greece. But the thing is that blades also differ from categories, just like the hilts. So I do suggest that if you get yourself a custom blade and you feel that you just want it for show and tell, just showing off to your friends, hey, look, this is so cool. You could get yourself a cheaper blade that's about maybe $25. But if you want a heavy grade blade, it's just a $5 extra, and you just basically get to whack the shit out of everything. Don't use it against people. I feel like PETA's going to come from my ass. Don't use it against animals or people, obviously. But if you get cheated on by your wife, or you get caught with your mistress, they get to use it against you. I mean, like, yeah, it's totally fair. It's a joke, but don't take me out of context. People love doing it these days. So yeah, never use these blades against anyone or anything unless you're threatened. And if someone comes to rob you and you beat them down with a toy prop lightsaber, you should be on the news and you would be my hero. Trust me, I would like to know. If I made a lightsaber for one of you guys and someone tried to rob you and you just beat them down with an illuminated lightsaber, I would be in disbelief. I'd be like, is this guy for real? I'm trying to rob him and he's hitting me with a toy lightsaber. Anyway, I know my humor is bad, and I also know that this should have been a 30-minute stream, but you guys, despite me having like 2 guys on this chat, makes it worth the while. I just like talking about it. So, Darth Maul, do I have you covered so far? I'd like to know. Let's see. I should be waiting. Brent Newman responded. That is great. I hope I managed to answer most of the questions. So it's a trust thing. If you guys think that, hey, I can trust this guy, I really appreciate it. I'll take it to heart. And if you trust me with my vision and my skills and my abilities in this thing, you will also be benefiting me, because the more I make, the more practice I'll get and the better I'll get. It doesn't mean that, for example, I'll make the first 3 customers a shitty hilt because I didn't have practice, and the 100th one gets a better hilt because I've had more practice. But you know what I mean. You're not dumb, you're smart guys. So that's basically it. If you guys didn't manage to catch this live, you can replay this. It has replay value, I believe. It answers everything. If I leave anything out, you can comment. I will come back to it. Obviously, I must have forgotten something. There's so many specifications to go over, but I just want to keep it simple for people to understand, the basics and the essentials of what this business is about. You cannot say, hey, I just build lightsabers just like that and go blatantly and say, hey, yeah, I'm a hotshot. You have to, at least for me, I have to be able to earn the trust of the demographic that I'm supposed to pander to first. That's what I'm trying to do. So that's that pretty much. So if there's no questions, any more questions in like the next 2 minutes, I think I'm going to go off air. But you can still catch me on Twitter, and I'm going to post this right now in the comments. You guys can follow me at Twitter at this JPL 723. There you go. That's my Twitter page. My DMs are open. You can ask me anything personally. You can ask me for what you want built, what you want me to make. I'll tell you when I'm available to make it because right now I'm kind of out of town, but that's not a problem. So that's that. Just gonna wait one extra minute. Any questions? I'm open. Thank you, Brent Newman. If you want to ask me anything, if you want a Saber commission, if you want me to make anything, I'd be happy to help. So that's that. I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this. And if you just came in recently and you want to watch it from the beginning, I do answer most of the questions. It does have replay value, so I do suggest that you look at this at the beginning because I do specify a few things that are important. And I'll catch you guys on Twitter. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.